Hello yarn lovers! At this time of year we are all looking for quick little gifts we can make, and these gift bags are perfect for filling with sweet treats, candy, little gifts, anything you can think of. So the gift bag is simply made from 2 granny squares joined together with a little bit of extra crochet at the top and this cute little bow to tie and draw it together at the back. We added these cute festive little buffalo plaid buttons. You can decorate yours anywhere you like. You're going to need some double knit cotton yarn in 2 colours. I've gone for a winter white and a Christmas tree green, Christmas traditional green colour. Now I'm using the same granny tree motif for 3 different projects, and the only difference is that you'll use a different hook size depending on what you're making. So I'm actually going to be using the 4mm hook now. So I'm going to start by putting a slip knot on my hook and chaining 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to join to that first chain, if I can get it in, with a slip stitch to form a ring. And then I'm going to chain 3. This counts as a double crochet. And now we're going to start working into that ring. So I'm going to put 2 more double crochet, working into the ring and working over that tail as you go. So it's 2 more double crochet. So this is our first granny cluster. We're now going to chain 2. We're now going to work another granny cluster into the ring. So that's 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and then another granny cluster into the ring. It's 3 more double crochet. Chain 2 for the next corner, and then our last granny cluster. It's 3 more double crochet all into that ring. And then we chain 2 for that last corner, and now we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that, chain 3. We're now ready to start round 2, so we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches because we want to get across to that corner space to start our next round, and then we'll slip stitch into the corner space as well. Chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to put 2 more double crochet into that same corner space. Chain 2, and then we want another granny cluster in that corner to create our first corner from round 2. So that's 3 double crochet. We're now going to work into the next corner space, and this is how we're going to do all of our corners. So it's 3 double crochet into that corner space, chain 2 for the next corner, and then another 3 double crochet into that same space, and that's our second corner made. Now I'm going to repeat that for the final 2 corner spaces, so you go ahead and make these 2 corners exactly like we did this one, and I'll meet you back when we're ready to finish off the round. So once you get to the end of the round, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3, and now we're ready to start round 3. So we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches because we want to start in that corner again. So that's 2 slip stitches and then another slip stitch into that corner space. So this is the first round where we're going to start our colour work. So chain 3 for our first double crochet and then work our corner as normal. So that's 2 more double crochet into that same space, chain 2, and then another granny cluster all into that same corner space. We now have spaces between our clusters across the side. So when you're working into a space across the side, you're going to put 3 double crochet in there. So that's just a granny cluster into each space you get to across the sides. So for this round, we've just got one space there across the sides, and now we've got our next corner, and our corners are always the same. 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet. But we do need to change colour now, ready for the next cluster along the side. So on this last double crochet stitch, we're going to yarn over, put a hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and then we're going to let go of the green, and we're going to pick up our white, lay that over the hook and pull that through to finish off that double crochet stitch. We want to carry this green yarn with us as we go, so we're just going to gently lay it across the back of our work, like so, and then we're going to put our first cluster in the white into this next space across the sides. And I'm just working over that green yarn as we go. So we've got 2 more double crochet in this space at the side. So let's carry the green yarn across to this corner space and work our corner as usual with the white. So it's 3 double crochet, chain 2 for that corner space, and 3 more double crochet. And on this last stitch, we're going to swap back to the green. So we'll just drop the white, pick up the green, finish off that stitch, and then we're going to carry the white across. And we're working into this space across the side, so we're going to put a granny cluster in there. That's 3 double crochet, and we're going to change back to the white on this last double crochet. So we just work the first part of that stitch, drop the green, pick up the white again, finish off that stitch, and then remember to carry this green with you across to the next corner. So the next corner is going to be in the white. So that's 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet. Oops, seem to have a knot. There we go. Okay, so we're now ready to work our next granny cluster into this space across the side. We're going to carry this green yarn with us and work over the top, and we're going to put 3 double crochet in this space across the side. That's 1, 2. Now you can see here this first cluster, we're going to need to join to this, but this is green, so we want to swap back to the green so that it's joined in the same colour. So in this last double crochet, we're going to change back to the green. So we just drop the white, pick up the green, finish off that last stitch, and then carry this yarn across, because we're going to need to use this again, the white, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3, and I'm just catching the white yarn at the same time, like so. So I'm now going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, like so, and then also into that corner chain space, and we're ready to start our next round. We need to carry this white with us as we go, so we'll chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to put 2 more double crochet into that same space. That's 1. So this next stitch we're going to swap back to the white, so we're just going to work the first part of that double crochet, let go of the green, pick up the white, finish off that stitch. Remember to hold this in the corner so we can work over it. We're going to chain 2 for that corner space, and now we're going to work the second part of a corner in white. So that's 3 more double crochet into this corner space. And we're going to continue in white all the way across this side of the granny square, so remember to work over the green yarn as you go. So that's 3 double crochet into this space across the side. And we've got another space across the side before we get to the corner, so we're going to put another granny cluster in there. That's 3 double crochet. And now we're at our corner. So at our corner, if you remember this first corner, we started off with green for the first part of the corner and then white. And so we're going to do that the opposite way around. The first part of the corner will be white, and then we'll swap to the green. So we'll put 3 double crochet into this corner space, and on that 3rd double crochet we're just going to work the first part of the stitch, drop the white, pick up the green, chain 2 for the corner, and then put our final 3 double crochet into this corner. Now we need to change back to the white again, so on that 3rd double crochet we're just going to work the first part of that stitch, drop the green, pick up the white. And we've now got to the area where we started our colour work in the previous round, and if you can see, we've got these little floats across the back where we've carried the yarn. So we're going to catch those up on this round so that they are a bit less noticeable. So let's start with a granny cluster in this side space. So you're going to put your hook into that space, just turn it over and then catch the hook underneath that float, and then work your granny cluster, working it over those yarns. So that's 3 double crochet into that space. And we're going to do exactly the same in the next space, carrying that green across, double crochet, find that float, and then 2 more double crochet. And we're at our next corner, and the corner's always the same, 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. We're now working in spaces across the sides again. So again, we're going to be looking for that float, and we can see it here. We just catch that up as we put our 3 double crochet into that space across the side. And we're going to do exactly the same in the next space. If you can't see that float, sometimes turning it over helps. 3 double crochet, and now we're on at our next corner. So it's 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. So we've just got our 2 spaces to work into across the sides. So you go ahead and do that, making sure you catch up that float, and I'll meet you back when we're ready just to join and finish off the round. So I'm just at this last space across the sides. I've got 2 double crochet in there. I'm going to put 1 more, and I'm going to change colour back to the green, and then we can slip stitch into the top of this chain 3, and I'm just going to catch that white to make sure we carry that over. So we slip stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. And now I want to change back to the white. We're finished with the green now, so we're going to drop the green, pick up the white and work that next slip stitch with the white. Then we can slip stitch into that corner. Let's work over this tail as well, just to secure that. Chain 3 for this next corner, 2 double crochet in the same space, chain 2, and then 3 double crochet for the corner. So we finished with the green now, so we can just fasten that off. And now really all that's left is to work around your granny square. You're going to put granny cluster in each space across the sides, and in each corner. That's 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and also just keep looking for these floats and make sure you're working over those as you go. So across the sides, catch up that float, 3 double crochet in each space across the sides, and then work your corners as normal. So you work all the way around your granny square, and I'll meet you back when we're ready to finish off. So I'm just coming up to the end of the round. We're simply going to join with a slip stitch the top of that chain 3. So you want to go ahead and make a second motif in exactly the same way, and I recommend you go ahead and weave in all your ends before joining. It's just a bit more difficult to do that once your bag has been formed. So we're going to have our granny squares with the right sides facing outwards. So you want wrong sides together, like so. Now I used a contrasting colour for joining this one. I went for something a similar colour to the jute ribbon, but you can use the same colour as your bag, or I'm going to use the green this time to show you how to do the joining so you can see better. But it's pretty decorative joining technique anyway, so it looks really nice in a contrasting colour. So you want the same size hook, so I'm still with the 4mm. Going to put a slip knot on my hook with the green yarn, and then we're just going to join at the top left corner here. So in the corner you've got 2 stitches, 2 chains for your corners, so we're going to join into this second chain. We're just going to join with a slip stitch. Now this tail you can weave this in later. So we're then going to, it's probably easier if you have them side by side. We're now looking for the same chain in this corner. So for this square it's going to be the top right corner, and it's that second chain, and we're just working into those inside loops. So it's the back loop of the square that you're working into. So we're going to put my hook. You need to keep your yarn on this side. So I'm just going to put my hook through that loop, that back loop, and make a slip stitch. And then we're going back into the next stitch across, working into the back loops only, and slip stitch. And then we're looking for the next stitch on the other granny square. So we're just going through that back loop and working our slip stitches, and we're going to keep doing this all the way across the edges of our granny squares. So you keep working across, and I will meet you back when we get to the corners so you can see what we do there. As you can see, the slip stitch join creates this really pretty braided look across the edge, almost like you've sewn some rickrack to the edge of your project. So as you're coming up to the corners, we're not going to do anything different. We're just going to continue with a slip stitch in each stitch. So in the back loop of that first stitch of the corner, with a slip stitch, and exactly the same on the opposite side, like so. And then again into the next stitch of the corner through that back loop, the slip stitch, and the same on this other side. And then we're just continuing along the bottom of our granny squares. Like so. So now we can continue all the way across the bottom, around this corner, and finish off at the top again once we get back to the top. So you go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back when we're ready to add the top to our gift bag. Once you've worked all the way around your bag with your braided slip stitch joining method, you can fasten off and weave in those ends. I'm just going to tuck mine inside for now. I'll do those later. And now we're ready to add this top part of our bag. So with your 4mm hook and your white yarn, you can join in any corner square. So I'm just going to put my hook in, and I'm going to chain 3. This counts as a double crochet. And we're going to put 2 more double crochet into that same corner space for our granny cluster. So that's 1, 2. We're now going to start working around the bag, and we're going to put a granny cluster into each of these spaces across the top of the granny square, and we're going to do exactly the same in the corner spaces as well. So into this corner space, I'm going to put 3 double crochet. And then we're just going to continue around with a granny cluster in each space. And again, when you reach the corners, exactly the same, 3 double crochet into each corner. And then just continue around onto the other side with 3 double crochet into that next corner space. And you're just going to keep going until you get back to the beginning of the round. So I've just put my last granny cluster into that final space, and we're back to the beginning. So we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. So we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches to start off the next round. That's 1, 2, and then into this space between our clusters we're going to slip stitch in there as well, and then we'll chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet, 2 more double crochet into that same space, and then we're going to continue around with a granny cluster into each space all the way around. Once you've worked all the way around, you're just going to finish off by joining with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. So you need to go ahead now and repeat that last round twice more, so you'll have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds of your granny clusters. So you go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back when we're ready for our final round. So I've added my last 2 rounds of granny stitch, and we've just joined with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3 at the beginning of the round. We're now going to chain 1. This does not count as a stitch. I'm going to put single crochet into that same stitch, chain 3, and then single crochet into that same stitch. We're going to skip the next stitch, and in the following stitch, single crochet, chain 3, and another single crochet back into that same stitch. And we're going to repeat this around. So skip 1, in the following stitch, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, skip 1, in the next stitch, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and you're just going to repeat this all the way around. So you go ahead and finish off that, and I'll meet you back when it's time to finish off the round and add our ties. Just worked all the way around, and we're going to skip this final stitch and then slip stitch to this first single crochet, and then you can fasten off. So all that's left is to add this cute little bow. I'll show you how to make that next. So first of all, you want to take some jute twine. Eight or nine, maybe 10 inches is probably enough. I'm going to thread this onto a darning needle. So just thread the twine through your button, back up the other side. You want to kind of get it so that the twine is in the middle, and then we're just going to go back down through this hole of the button like so, and then I'm just going to thread on the other end, put that through the final hole in the button. So just pull that tight. Once you've got your button all threaded up, we're going to use these to tie it to the jute ribbon to make our bow. So you want to get enough ribbon that's going to make it a good size bow for you. So I'm just eyeballing it really. So something like that. So we're just going to put our button in the middle and then tie it at the back. So you want to just do a normal knot, but add one extra little wrap around. This is called a surgeon's knot, and that's going to help you secure it, and then pull it tight. Once you've pulled it tight, you can turn it over and then just fiddle around with it until it looks exactly how you want it to. And then tie one last knot like so. Let's just trim this end so it's a bit more similar to the other length. There we go. So once you've finished your bow, you want to kind of place it so that it's in the center is at the top of your tree, and you're then going to, it's probably actually easier to thread your twine onto a needle, and you're just going to weave in and out of the gaps between the stitches. So this is the granny cluster you've got that is directly above the top of the tree. So we're going to start here. We're just going to weave in and out, and that will, and then just weave in and out, and do the same for the other side. There we go. So you've got your little bow at the center of the bag. You can then fill your bag with your gifts and then just simply tie a little bow at the back like so. And there you have your granny tree gift bag, and once you've got something stuffed in it, it's going to look a bit like this one. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning how to make these cute little gift bags, and if you're looking for more festive makes, then be sure to check out my Christmas makes playlist right here on YouTube. I also have some more patterns made with this granny tree motif. I have some cute little coasters and some granny tree bunting, so why don't you check those out next. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye now.